We're talking today to Mark Farner. You know the voice. If you listen to my radio station, you listen to Greatest Hits 98.1, you hear Mark Farner probably at least once a day. Considering all of the Grand Funk Railroad hits. So yeah, Mark Farner is an ever-present presence on here in Western Wisconsin. Seriously, like every day there's a Grand Funk song will come up like, well, there's Mark Farner once again.
Well, bless your heart. I appreciate that, Brother Luke.
Yeah, you're welcome. Your voice is still going because you got new music and you got new live content. We're going to talk a lot about that. In particular, Mark Farner's American Band from Chile With Love is the DVD. Now, that came out just a little over a week ago. Am I correct on that?
That's right, April 6th.
Okay, why Chile of all nations?
Well, we were doing a South American run down into Peru and Brazil and Chile. And we had already been to this theater in Santiago. It's Teatro Calpalican. It's like a theater in the round. And I loved playing there because the closeness of the audience and such, you could get a look at everybody, eh? And so you could really rock in a place like that because you can play to them. You can play to the people. So anyways, the promoter calls my manager and said a friend of his who had Abismo Films in Santiago wanted to do an 8-camera shoot video on me and would work a fantastic deal and whatever. And it wasn't, I think it took maybe 2 seconds to make that deal. And we came up with this Mark Farner's American Band from Chile With Love. It's 16 live performance tracks. There is 2 bonus videos on there, one of which is available right now at markfarner.com. It's a free download right there, and it'll give you a taste of what the DVD is about because the footage taken in Rock and Roll Soul is from the live performance, which is in the 16 performance tracks. So it refers back to, and it's a very Americana. You would swear it was shot in California someplace, but it was shot down there in Chile, and it's beautiful. And what they did and what the salute that they gave to the American rock and roll, wow, loved it. And
Yeah.
we got 5 bonus tracks on there, Luke, 5 bonus tracks that were never released before, so I'm really happy about that. And for $14.99, such a deal.
Come this weekend while supplies last. There are supplies, though. It's you mentioned the video in particular. So I'm watching through both that video, and I'll get more to Never and Always in a little bit, but I'd watched Never and Always first. Then I watched Rock and Roll Soul, and I recognized a little bit of the similarity in like, I think maybe the young daughter, or it looked similar enough, but I could tell also with the Abismo, I'm like, okay, so this was shot in Chile. But to your point of how they make it look very, I guess, like a garage in America, that was my first thought as well. I'm like, oh, this must be about, wait, it looks similar than what, oh, they're recreating this in Chile. This is pretty cool. They did a good job.
Oh, yeah. They love American rock and roll down there, so the job that they did went beyond our hopes and what we even agreed and signed on the line for, because Carlos came with, as you mentioned, Luke, the Never and Always. He came to us, dude, that was done, and he says, look, I love that song so much. When I heard it, this is what came to my mind, and wanted to run it past you. If you want any changes or if you don't even want it, it's okay.
Wow.
And we looked at it, man. We watched the thing and cried. So we definitely wanted it, and it's on there. And I think people, because what we have been going through as a nation, I think people can really appreciate the message in this.
Yeah, and in both, the both in Rock and Roll Soul and the feeling of you want that energy back, and kind of there's that twist at the end of the video, which won't describe for anyone listening. Watch the video and you'll see what I'm talking about. But then also in Never and Always, again, it's a thing that it's very American, but it's a universal human feeling, because I mean, there's homelessness everywhere. There are people that are running there, people that deal with abuse everywhere. I mean, it's something that I'm sure it happens in Chile all the time. It's something, but at the same time, watching that video, I feel like I could be looking at something that was filmed in New York City. It's a message And I like again, I won't reveal what happens, but what happens in the stories as that video progresses.
Yeah.
Where did... Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say that's the work of Carlos Toro. And he is the producer and owner of Abismo Films. Actually, it's Carlos Toro the Fifth.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a generational thing. It's a blessing.
My gosh. Okay, you said that he and the company came to you. I mean, how did they / him learn about your music to want to make the DVD thing start and then beget this relationship?
Well, they were big fans of the music first, Luke, and then the promoter, Carlos Pastin, was friends, with Carlos Toro. And so they always would do lunch together, whatever, because they're good friends. And so when he told, Toro that he was going to bring Mark Farner back to Santiago, and he goes, wow, tell him I'll do this. So that's how we got the connect. And after being with that crew and on stage, usually whenever we shot a live video and there's been cameramen on stage, I will inevitably run into him. I mean, not on purpose, ever. But I just bust out in a run. I just might take off, and I don't look. I'm not used to somebody being there, or happen to. So during this performance, I didn't hit anybody. This is like the first one.
Wow.
They are so courteous and such good camera work. Great people, great hearts. Yeah, they've definitely got a love for American rock and roll.
Describe Mark Farner's American Band, and the bios are on the website, so people can read there. But talk a little more, maybe in depth beyond the website of the other guys in the group.
Well, the drummer, Hubert Crawford, is a Don Brewer study. I mean, that's where he is. That's Don is his guy. It's
nice.
Every song. I don't care which one. If I say it's "I Come Tumbling" or "Loneliness," he's got it. He knows it because that's what he grew up playing and loving. And I met him. He was playing drums with James Brown. We did a show in Montgomery, Alabama. There was War, Grand Funk, and James Brown.
Wow.
And it was in the street, and it was really a great rock festival. And that's where we met Hubert and watched him play up there with James on stage. And somehow the good Lord had a place for him in my band. And he rocks, man. I mean, he holds us together. He really rocks hard. And on bass guitar is Paul Randolph from Detroit, Michigan. And I just worked with Paul Randolph doing the Alice Cooper record, Breadcrumbs, which was a prelude to his Detroit Stories release. And he was the bass player, but I had never met him before. I was there, Wayne Kramer from the MC5 was there, and Johnny B from the Detroit Wheels, and of course Alice and Bob Ezrin. And when we heard this bass player, it was like, woo, man, this guy can play. And then we got to do an overdubs for background vocals. Dude, this guy, I'm looking up there. I'm down here at like 5'7". I'm looking up there. He's like 6'3", 4", something like that, And he's got this really high voice coming out of there, and I am just amazed at that. I asked him to play in my band because we needed to get somebody from Detroit and didn't even know about him. But we're glad to have Paul Randolph on bass and Bernie Palo, who I met with doing some gigs with Alto Reed, who is the sax player for Bob Seger. And we did gigs with Dave Mason, Felix Cavalieri, Eric, Rick Derringer, and then I can't remember the Eric dude. It wasn't Clapton, no, trust me, it wasn't him. It was from Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp. But it's a blast, I mean, to learn from these guys, to play with those guys, and be part of that rock and roll at that moment. It's never going to happen again. So, you got to carry it on board and use it when you're writing your next song.
Exactly. Well, there is a next song that we just heard, and I always perk up when I hear an artist who's been around a long time release new music. And so when I saw, Never and Always, is okay, cool. Well, when was that song written, and how was that song written?
That song was written 3 years ago in L.A. We were at the Mothership, which is Steve Vai's studio, and the record company had leased the studio from Steve Vai. So we're at the Mothership, and I'm doing some other songs, so we're doing some recording, and as I'm tuning up, I'm sitting in a control room, and there's a lot of engineers and people that are walking back and forth and setting up and what have you, making some changes, some mic changes. And Tom Fletcher, the producer, was sitting at the desk making some adjustments. And anyways, I'm getting guitar sound, and he said, well, you want a little bit more, Mark, so you can tune up? These guys are making some noise. I said, yeah, give me just a little bit more of that. So I started playing this riff. It was just a little jam that I had, came up with in my head, but it sounded so cool in that room with those speakers, man, the big stereo speakers in that control room. And Fletcher looked over at me. He said, what the hell is that? I said, Never and Always. It's a concept of a song I had, and I started, I sang him a little bit, but I didn't have it finished. I finished it there at the Mothership, and with the help of John Spicer, we put it together and recorded it in 432, in A432. A440 is concert pitch.
Yeah.
Well, we cut in A432.
Really?
It's a better fit. Oh,
really?
Yes. Oh, yes. I'm there from now on. It's me.
Really? What?
That's what I'm doing.
I mean, how do you feel better with that? Just a little, the frequency just a little bit off. What do you find is that better fit? I'm really curious on that.
Well, I tuned my guitar because a friend of mine turned me on to it, and he had a video link that he sent me where this guy said a loudspeaker by a kiddie pool and hit A2. He was in 440, and he hit A2 and a tone generator at 120 decibels, and you know what happens at 120 decibels. I mean, it was chop on the water. It was just, blasting. So he tunes it down to 432, which is 8 cents, lower than 440, to 432, hit it at the same 120 decibels. It was like glass.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So at 432, it is, the harmonics changed on he told me to change, to tune my acoustic guitar. I did to 432, and as he said, each time it would come into tune, you would hear harmonics coming off the string. They would just kind of ring out. As soon as you would hit that, I'm going, wow, you could almost tune to the harmonics on this. If my ears were better, I definitely could.
Well, that's fascinating. I am going to have to experiment with that a little bit. That's really, really cool. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, it is, man. Your acoustic guitar will say, thank you, dude.
Okay, good to know. Awesome. I'll have to try applying that and such. Cool. So the song comes together, you get the music video out there. What have you gotten any fan feedback from that song yet?
Yeah, and it's all good. Just a few people saying that it's great timing for this and didn't know when it was written, but it sure does fit, for what people are feeling. And, I always love a happy ending, Luke. I just do.
It's there. It's there. Like I said, not revealing what's in the video, but there's a point to that. There's definitely a point to that for sure. Your voice. Speaking of, it's not endings, but happy occurrences still after a long time. So I'm listening to your voice in all of this material and going, you know what? Sounds essentially like it did in the 1970s, which doesn't always happen with singers. There are assorted reasons. Obviously, some don't take care of their voice. Some, it just ages on them. They do everything right, but to each their own. Your voice sounds essentially, from my ears, pretty much as how it sounded in the 1970s. How do you keep your voice healthy?
I married a woman 13 years younger than me. And she is health conscious. We are both health conscious. So I do a natural thing. I know that, inflammation is not good in your body, no matter, what's causing it or what type it is. But in 2002, I did a Walk Down Abbey Road tour, and Todd Rundgren and I were having a beer one morning. It was a day off, and we went in. The guy puts it in the draft glass and puts it up in front of us, and we think it's beer. I mean, that's what we asked for, and we watched him get it out. And when I took a drink of mine, oh my God, dude, it came right back up all over that bar, and it was. The guy told us, he freaked out. He says the guy that was supposed to take those hoses, because they put acid in the hose to wash them out at night. We got glasses full of acid. Anyways, I had this lung infection occur because of that, and I had it for a year and a half. It was like, and trying to sing, oh my God, it was the hardest thing for me to do. And I went to University of Michigan. They, put the TV cameras in there. It looks like cottage cheese. It doesn't look good. So a friend of mine who was a Navy SEAL in San Diego sent me some Wobenzyme, Wobenzym, Wobenzyme. It was not available in the United States at that time. And he says, I'm driving over to Mexico today, Farner, and I'm sending you this stuff. I want you to get on it. And he told me how to take it. Take it like 3 in the morning, 3 at night, to just get used to your body, taking it. And it's really heavy mega doses of pineapples, papain, and from papaya. I know that's the papain, and from the pineapple, bromelain. Anyways, the really high enzyme doses, and that's what kicked that stuff out of me, dude. In less than 3 weeks, it was gone.
Wow.
Yeah. Because I kicked it up to 7 3 times a day on an empty stomach. You have to take it on an empty stomach to do the systemic work, and take it with a lot of water. And it goes down there and kicks the bad guy's ass. Seriously.
Good.
And so inflammation is a singer's absolute worst nightmare.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. I'm on the Wobenzyme. I thank God for that. I thank God for a wife that's health-minded, feeds me right, gives me raw juices and, the things to keep me going. I'm 73 this year. And I feel pretty good. I feel like I did when I was 18. I'm lying a little bit.
If you're in the ballpark, that's the important thing, though.
Yeah.
That's what matters. If you can still run around on stage in your 70s and be singing like that and playing like that, more power to you. That's an awesome thing. Speaking of...
Thank you, Brother Luke. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Speaking of being on stage and such, I'll ask this. Do you get different reactions to different songs in different cities and or different countries? Yes,
I do. And some, it just depends on what the market played. If they played Locomotion more. I mean, as soon as we go into Locomotion, everybody likes that song, but some places, they are right with it, and they're singing with it and everything. And same thing with Some Kind of Wonderful. You will have some places that where people just, man, they can't wait getting up and boogieing, man. They stand right there in front of the seat and get down. So, yeah, and Heartbreaker, that's like on the East Coast of the United States, people in the Boston area and those the upper states up in through there, New Hampshire, Maine, and Vermont, good people, good soulish people up in there, and they would sing with you, singing Heartbreaker, just like on the DVD here from Chile With Love. the people there in Chile were singing Heartbreak. That's one of the songs that you can tell they really like that song. And some of the folks told me they learned English so they could understand the words because the music was touching them in such a way that their heart had to know what it was saying.
Really?
So that just, music does cross language barriers. It doesn't need any words to touch somebody, to get somebody's attention. If there's enough love in there, it's going to touch everybody.
Yep. What are your favorite countries and cities in which to perform?
Well, we really like Japan. The first time we went there, played the World Series baseball stadium outside of Osaka.
Nice.
And it rained. It was a monsoon, and we played anyway. And the people loved us. They just loved us there. The kids, there was so many fans in the street. They couldn't get in. They had sold it out. And the fans outside, there had to be, there was 5,000 to 7,000 fans just standing. They were jumping up and down and wanting to get in. Well, as we are pulling in with the limo, these kids, these people pick up this great big telephone pole and start ramming the gate. And it doesn't take but about 3 good pokes with this thing, and that gate was history, and they all poured into the infield.
Oh, boy.
I'm not kidding you. It was a fiasco, and it's raining like crazy. So they remember us there, and I remember Japan. I love the people. I love the humble people, their nature to be clean, and a reverence for spiritual things. And so I really love the Japanese people. Cool. And love playing for them. Played there with Ringo in '95 at the Budokan.
Ooh.
And, getting back up in front of the people year after year, whenever I've been able to get to the people of the fans in Japan, we always get the same reaction. I mean, they just, once you have a love affair with people, it's just like my Chilean brothers and sisters. I go back there, and I get a lot of love from them people, man. Why would you not want to go back to that?
Right. Yeah. It's reciprocal.
Yeah, man. It's that and the food, Luke.
Right.
You get to eat all this different food. I love that food down there in Peru. Oh my God, I had the best potato soup I ever had in my life in Arequipa, Peru.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know too much Peruvian food, but here in Wisconsin, obviously. So, like anything, there would be different and interesting and fun to try.
Yeah, absolutely.
Interesting. What is your all-time favorite concert where you've performed throughout your entire life?
The first Atlanta Pop Festival. That was, we were introduced to large crowds right then, and we didn't have a record deal. We were an unheard of band. We are a garage band from Flint, Michigan, performing in Atlanta, Georgia, in front of all these name acts that drew all that 185,000 people to the festival. And so when I walked up on that stage, we were opening act because the attorneys who were doing the legal work for that show were the attorneys that our manager, Terry Knight, used in New York City. So they worked a deal with the promoters of the festival to have their band, Grand Funk Railroad, go on first and open this festival for free. We would play for no performance money, and they would take a reduction in their legal fees. So it worked out, and 185,000 people. Dude, all I had seen prior to this was, if we played a fair and you had, a couple of thousand people. Dude, this is like you walk up on that stage, and the only thing that we had been able to see as far as the audience and experience the vastness of the audience, you could hear it, but when looking out through the fence backstage, you could only look into maybe the first 10 rows or something, not very far. So when I got up on the stage, I'm 15 feet above their heads. I'm going, wow! Oh, my God. It was as far as your eye could see with just people.
Wow.
And it was rocking. It was just so rocking. And we did our first album, all of our original songs, and we ended with Land of a Thousand Dances by Wilson Pickett. Mm-hmm. And I took my guitar off. I was dancing all over that stage and singing and just getting down. It was cool. And they loved it, and they didn't want us to leave the stage. They kept calling us back, encore after encore. I'm serious, man. They fell in love with us right then, because we were just, I was 19 or 20, and Mel was like 17 or 18. We're just kids.
Wow.
But they loved us. They loved our energy, and they loved the intention. They loved what the songs were saying, and that they were not all from Atlanta, Georgia. There was people from every state in the union there. So the word went out, and we started playing festivals and getting paid, dude.
Yeah. Yep. And now you can make a career out of it.
Yeah.
And you guys did. That's really cool. What? Okay, so now we got the DVD out. We got the new song out. Videos are out. May I ask, what is next? Do you have any projects you're starting to put together? What are we going to expect from you next, or is it just let's just talk about everything, promote the current DVD? What are your next plans going down the road?
Well, my next plans are I'm doing the Huckabee show on the 23rd.
Okay.
And next week. And I'm going to be writing with Mark Slaughter from the group Slaughter.
Nice.
From the 80s. He's a good friend of mine, and we did Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp together. We played I'm Your Captain on the Howard Stern Show live with Kip Winger on the bass, Sandy Gennaro on drums, and Teddy Zigzag Andreatis on keyboards, and Bruce Kulick on acoustic guitar, Mark Slaughter on second electric guitar, and we did it, and Howard loved it, man. We did it so good. I mean, it was so close to the record. I was getting goosebumps watching it back.
Nice.
So, yeah, that's we're gonna be doing some dates coming up in St. Augustine, Florida. We got dates. We got down in Ohio on May the 12th, but in St. Augustine on May 21st with Blue Oyster Cult, and then we got some dates, couple other dates in Florida with BOC, and of course there are coming onto my website each day now. So you can check it out at markfarner.com for the listeners. And don't forget about that free download of Rock and Roll Soul. Check it out at markfarner.com.
Very good. Well, we'll have to keep checking that out and keep an eye on what else is coming up. And in the meantime, definitely I'd encourage anyone, again, watch the music videos and pick up that new DVD. Again, Mark Farner's American band from Chile With Love, newly released. It's going to be a fun watch, fun listen. Mark, thanks for taking some time to chat with us today about all of this. This has been a really, really fun chat and learning about all of this. And I'm going to have to try out those frequencies. That's a really cool thing to hear for sure. I know all about A440, so hearing that. In fact, funny you should mention that today, because I was getting my hair. True story. I was getting my hair cut about 3 hours ago. And the person that cuts my hair is into like frequencies and such, and she was hitting a music, like she was hitting a gosh, I do stuff in music and I'm forgetting the name, a bar, the tone bar, but
a note.
Right, yeah, but it was like one of the metal, like a tuning bar, tuning fork.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
That's what I mean, the tuning fork, duh. But
yeah.
It was at 528 frequency, and I'm like, okay, what's the significance of that? And she said it's the love frequency, and it's a C note in effect, but said it's the love frequency, and she's doing that to start. I went, interesting. I mean, that perked up my attention as well. And so it's the first time she's ever done that, but she was knocking that around, and it's a good relaxant. So that's the second frequency reference of the day.
I'd say it's confirmation, Brother Luke Anthony.
I think so. These things don't just happen like that. So that's very good. I'm glad we had this interview today. This has been really fun. So thank you, Mark, for all of this. Best of luck going forward. We look forward to more stuff coming from you going down the road.
All right, Brother Luke, I appreciate it myself, and for all the classic hit listeners there in Altoona, Wisconsin. God bless y'all. If I don't see you in the future, I'll see you in the pasture.
Take care, Mark.